I'm in Troutman, North Carolina tonight. Had to stop at a Sheetz. I love Sheetz. I'm from Orlando, Florida. They don't have Sheetz down there. And when you try to explain to people how good the food is, and then they roll their eyes because they ask you why you're buying food at a gas station. But there's something about a burger on the pretzel bun, or the red beet eggs, or the amazing coffee. Now recently they started building Wawa in the Orlando area. It's just not the same. Sheetz is awesome. It's clean. The food is inexpensive. The service is good. It's everything a business should be. But when you talk to people that have never been here, they just don't get it. And it's just a matter of perspective. And there's so many things that are just a matter of perspective in business. You know, when I was just a driver, an owner-operator, and I was working settlement to settlement, I didn't realize what more was out there in the trucking business. It was just a matter of perspective. Then when I got my own authority, things started to change. Things started to get a little bit different. More responsibility, more flexibility, more opportunity. Just a matter of perspective. Then I hired on owner-operators and I started to grow a fleet. More things changed. The way I looked at business changed. Just a matter of perspective. You know, then I started watching the way the owner-operators that were leased to me started doing things, and how they did things similar to the way I used to do things, or how they did things a little different than I used to do things. And everybody has their own way of doing things, and it's just a matter of perspective. So, what I wanted to talk about was, how can you change your perspective? What is your perspective on your business? What is your perspective on your operation? What is your perspective on the industry as a whole? You know, there's things like working paycheck to paycheck. If you're an owner-operator, do you still call it a paycheck? Is it a settlement? Do you still work paycheck to paycheck or settlement to settlement? Because is that the difference between owning a business or owning a job? Could you, as an owner-operator, step out of your truck, hire somebody to drive the truck for you? Is that the difference between owning a business and owning a job? Something to think about. Just a matter of perspective. Then, of course, there's deadhead. That's another good one. You know, I have owner-operators leased to me, but I also have small fleets leased to me where they have company drivers in their trucks. They have drivers. Now, I've seen some of them for a while that they're chasing the rate. They want that great rate per mile. They'll deadhead halfway across the country, if it makes sense, until they hired a driver. Now, they want to make sure that every mile is paid for, because now they have more expenses. Well, it's just a matter of perspective. The trucks you buy, the customers that you work with, that's a good one too. If you are an owner-operator and you're leased to a fleet, what is your business model? What is your perspective on your business? Do you run a trucking company? Well, that's a matter of perspective. As a fleet owner, a carrier that leases owner-operators, when I need additional capacity and I need another truck, I lease a truck. I lease an owner-operator. I'm leasing equipment and a driver. So I go to an owner-operator, which is a full-service leasing company. As an owner-operator leased to a carrier, isn't that really what you are? It's just a matter of perspective. There's so many things in life and in business that change just the way you look at it. So my advice to everyone is, step back, look at the way you operate. How would it be different if you were a fleet, or if you hired a driver, or if you could step back and coach somebody in your position, what would you tell them to do? Is that what you are doing? What is your perspective on your business? What is your perspective on your competition? Everything is just a matter of perspective. How can you change it? How can you be better? Everything is just a matter of perspective. You know, one thing that some people don't quite understand when they get into this trucking business is we're just a commodity. We're all running businesses, but are we really necessary? Shippers could ship their own product, and they could do it cheaper than we could do it for them. They choose to hire us, truckers, trucking companies, carriers, owner-operators, drivers. They choose to hire us to do it for them and outsource so that they can focus on doing what they do best, which is making their products, making their widgets. So when you go around and you start looking at your costs of operation, and you know, I've talked to people that say they can run their truck for as little as 50, 60, 70 cents a mile. It's just a matter of perspective, but how much do they pay their driver? As I said, I have fleet owners that once they hire a driver, that changes. No longer can they do it that cheap. So in effect, aren't you just working for free if you're deadheading and working for that 50, 60, 70 cents a mile just to pay for fuel and to pay for your maintenance costs and so forth? Couldn't a shipper do the same thing? They buy a truck. They don't have to make money on the trucking. They're making money on their products. So you have to do what companies like Sheetz does. You have to provide a service. You have to provide something more and do something better than the competition. Do something better than the next guy. Change your perspective. Change your customer's perspective of you, and do something that nobody else can do. That's my thoughts for tonight. Thank you guys for watching me. Now get out there and earn your dreams.